gonna make us just like that. We are live. It's like, yeah, seriously, like somebody pulling the rug out. Hey, folks, welcome. SVT time. It is Tuesday, April 28th. This is episode 96. I think I'm not going to look, but I'm guessing it's 96. Dom, thank you for joining us again. We have an awesome guest today, Leanne.
Yes.
And Leanne, forgive me if I mispronounce, but Bowes or
That's
Bowes?
it. You got it. It's Bowes.
Just okay, perfect. Thank you for joining us today. I know you've been like crazy busy but anyways, it's good to have you on, and thank you for joining us. Yeah,
I'm thrilled to be here. Yeah, this is great.
Where are you joining us from today? Are you in LA as well?
Yes, I'm in Los Angeles.
Okay, perfect. I gotta get these links up for Erin real quick here. Okay, they're there. So what's been going on? What have you been up to?
Yeah, I've been.
Give us the tea.
Sure. This year has been so far. I did Shipwrocked, which I don't know if you guys are aware of Shipwrocked, but it's super fun. It's a cruise. It's a rock cruise in January every year. Did it last year. Was lucky enough to be asked back. I'm kind of in like the house band, all-star band situation. So it's like covering songs with like these incredible other, musicians from different bands. It's super fun. So did that in January. And honestly, I've just been doing some stuff behind the scenes, like some things that you'll probably see come out in the next few months, like, videos I've filmed, we'll say, for different artists, and my coaching, which we can talk about a little bit too. I've been coaching players that want to like get into the pop world and get into the kind of hired gun side player life. And so that's been great. I mean, that's been really fulfilling and cool. And otherwise just kind of fielding offers as they come in, as we do.
Yeah. Man, I might take you up on the coaching thing after this is all said and done, because I need some brushing up on my techniques here, my coaching techniques.
I was this close to joining Shipwrocked with the calling. There was some band that dropped out last minute and they needed somebody last minute, and we were trying to logistically make it work. But getting from California to, I think they poured it in Miami, and then getting out of it was like, it was not going to happen in the amount of time that we got.
And you have to be there on time for sure, because the boat does not wait for you.
I was bummed. I've never done a cruise, so I like really wanted to check that out, but it looked incredible.
It is so fun, and it's such a family vibe. Like Andy Wood puts the like kind of house band together, and he's an incredible player, but also such a good guy. And if you ever get a chance to do it again, highly recommend.
Nice.
I was starting to get a little nervous because I'm claustrophobic, and I was like, I've never been on a cruise. I'm sure it's fine, but when at night, like when you're in your cabin, like I'm like, am I gonna be like freaking out?
It's crazy. You don't remember you're on a ship. Honestly, it's like being in the biggest hotel you've ever been in. It's like, I get it, but I take seasick meds the whole time. Like if I like am not on the seasick med for like an hour, I feel it. So
do you?
That's my strategy. Yeah.
Really? Okay.
The older I've gotten, like I used to not feel that stuff at all. I used to like roller coasters, whatever. But as you start to age, you start to feel those things a little more, and so.
I feel like it's just kicking in. You start to realize how unsafe things are.
Yeah, your amygdala is there. Yeah, for sure.
Is playing on stage with something that's moving weird? Like
you totally feel it. Yeah, there are moments where you kind of just stumble. Like you get used to it though. That's the weird thing, is you do get sea legs as they say, where it's like. There was one day I know last year when it was like relatively rough, really not that bad, but like we're all like in the rehearsal, just you're kind of almost like walking the whole time. It's just like pretty wild, but you do get used to it.
Yeah, no, I'm sorry. That's my wife has been on like for years now. Hey, let's go on a cruise. It's like no, and I live by the ocean. I can't not be near an ocean.
Mm-hmm.
We do a gig. We do a gig here. It's a big lake here in New Hampshire called Winnipesaukee, and they have like a casino showboat that goes around. And I do a gig on that, and we're talking lake water, like placid, still lake water. And I'm like, I'm a nervous wreck getting on the boat because I don't do well on boats.
Wow.
I don't do well on. Yeah, it's
How are you
really
with flying?
Fly does not bother me one bit.
Wow.
Does not bother me one bit. I can get in a race car and drive 300 miles an hour. I can do all that stuff. I get seasick on a canoe, Leanne.
Yeah, that's fair.
Like we went kayaking one day in a pond,
Yeah.
And I was getting motion sickness. Just like, I was like, all right, get me to shore. I'm done with this.
Okay, I don't recommend Shiprock then.
But for Dom, definitely. I think you
For
should
Dom,
do a
for
gig.
sure. Yeah.
Will be shiprocked for sure.
That was the gig you had called me. I think I was driving back from NAM, or it was like the week after NAM. You had said I might need to fly out first thing tomorrow morning.
Yeah.
Or tonight, actually,
Oh.
I think it was.
It was my birthday weekend too, and my
right.
I like big camping plans. My cousin was going to come and do it, and he was in Nashville, and his all of his pipes burst in his house because like all the weather they had and the freezing temps and everything. So he was like stuck. He couldn't do it. And then like an hour later, I got the call, like, I think we're going to go do this cruise. I was like, it's meant to be. And then
Man. So Leanne, let's go back to the beginning here.
Yeah.
Where were you born and raised?
I was born and raised in New Milford, Connecticut, which is it's Connecticut, like kind of Western Connecticut near the border of New York.
Okay. All right. That's my neck of the woods, New England. Yeah, cool. Now, were you brought up in a musical family? Did you tell us a little bit about your background there?
Yeah, it's kind of it's my dad was a drummer. My dad was like a musician just like me, where it's just kind of like he just picked up drums at an early age, and so he played just for fun though. I mean, he was just a hobbyist drummer. He was in bands when I was growing up. So I have very early memories of like hanging out with the wives at band practice when my dad was at band practice. You know, like he and the guys would be in the basement practicing, and I'd be like scrapbooking with the wives upstairs. So I have memories of that. And I actually, you know, my dad handed me my first bass. He bought a bass just for himself. He was playing with this old software called Cakewalk. It was like one of the first like MIDI DAWs, I guess. Not for, I don't want to say first, I have no idea, but early.
No, it was pretty
very
much
early.
one of the first.
Yeah, right.
I was there too.
Yeah. So he bought like a couple instruments just to kind of like try. And he was one of those, I'm kind of this way too, where it's just I pick up instruments and I can just figure them out and kind of play them. So he bought a bass for himself, and that was my first bass. He handed that to me, and he was like, can you learn this bass line in The Police, So Lonely, and we'll record it together. Like I'll play the drums and he was trying to, you know, record multi-channel, trying to figure that out. So yeah, that was the first bass line I learned. And that was like, we jammed together. He had a drum kit set up in the basement. So he was very talented too. And like that, so that was my, you know, instrumentally, I had a lot of access to instruments that way. Yeah. My mom is not musical, but she's very much a music fan. This is like, I grew up in like a musical household in that sense, where she had, and she introduced me to like 9 Inch Nails and Green Day and like those kind of bands. Yeah. So she had all those CDs. My dad was more on the classic rock side of things.
Wow.
So like Led Zeppelin, Rush was kind of more my dad's collection. But yeah, I grew up with a lot of music around for sure.
That is so cool.
Great music education for like
that is an awesome music. I'm envious. I grew up with great music.
I know it's one of those things, as I've like, you know, as a kid, you don't know anything different. And then as I like learned my friends' parents' taste in music, I was like, what are you guys listening to? You know, just like contemporary Celine Dion, whatever was on.
Yeah. Oh, that is so cool. Now, did you study? Did you play in high school band? Did you like?
Yeah, I actually did. So it's funny. I was playing bass just for fun with my friends, like in middle school, and then I was not in band. Like I didn't technically take lessons or anything like that. But then in middle school, the jazz band found out I was a bass player. There just weren't a lot of bass players. Like the director was like, oh my God, there's a bass player. Like, I heard through the grapevine, there's a bass player. Hunted me down, got me to join jazz band. I couldn't read music, so I was teaching myself. I remember like literally, what was the song? Oh my God. It was Love Potion No. 9. I like remember like taking like, just looking at each note, writing the little letter on, like just trying to learn music kind of through that. And it worked. I mean, I was, you know, doing it by the end of the year. But that was kind of how I taught myself to read music. And yeah, besides, my dad kind of guided me in the beginning, but pretty much self-taught there. And then, so middle school and then high school continued with jazz band, felt so out of my element. That was like, remember Pat Metheny, I was like, it was like conceptual. I was having a really hard time with that type of jazz, but did a lot of like, like competitions, you know how they have like the jazz band competitions. And so we went to Berkeley to like compete against other high schools, that kind of thing. So that was cool. And yeah, but no formal training. That was kind of it. I just continued to kind of teach myself. I still continue to teach myself, honestly. I'm still learning new things. and through high school, and then just, yeah, kept playing with kind of bands casually until I started to get serious about it.
Yeah. Yeah. That's cool. I mean, and every guest that we've had, every musician that we all know and talk to, and
Yeah.
when you get into that conversation, it's usually like come from a musical family, and like you say, not necessarily musical where they play instruments. Sometimes it's just mom and dad have an amazing music collection, and they
Yes.
listen to everything from Basie to to Nine Inch Nails.
Yeah.
But so what I and this is like the $1 million question that we ask
Yeah.
everybody too. It's like, you know, when you get to the point where you're on SVT time,
Yeah.
you've made decisions in your life that you've either moved to LA, you've moved to Nashville, like you've made a decision that I got to do this,
Yeah.
and to do this, I got to go here. So what was your deciding factor, and what prompted you? Did you first go to LA, or did you go someplace else?
No, I mean, yeah, I can go back. This is a story. So I went to college in Boston. I went to Emerson College for marketing. I studied advertising. I have a degree in advertising. And I was not going to be a professional musician. That was not my plan. That was something that I remember talking to my dad about that. Probably when I first started playing bass, I remember kind of watching Dave Grohl on TV and being like, oh, I want to do that. I should go to Berkeley. I should, figuring it out. And I remember my dad, kind of just being like, you should get a degree in something else. And, whether or not he was right, that's what I did. And so I went to Emerson College, got a degree in marketing, was working at an ad agency. I was just playing for fun. I had a bunch of bands like through that time that were just for fun. And then my dad passed away, and he was only 48. And it was, obviously the hardest thing in my life. It was a tough time. He had cancer, so it was also pretty quick. And seeing him pass away and seeing him have this awesome talent and this passion for something that he didn't get to really explore or do. He always had a day job. That was it. That was the silver lining of his passing. It was just like, I want to pursue my passion. This is something that is possible. And it's something that I watched someone like have to let it go. That was something I saw. So yeah, that was it. I mean, truly, that it was like, okay, I kind of made the choice. I quit my day job. I happened upon very, cosmically, my friend sent me a post about this band, Hunter Valentine, looking for a bass player. They were on this show on HBO, or sorry, Showtime. I don't want to misquote it, but they were on a show, so they had some of this popularity, and they were like, we need a bass player. We're about to go to South by Southwest. And like the next week I was in a van with them going to South by Southwest. So it was a really quick turnaround. It was my first time ever getting like paid to play. Like it was truly just like, oh, you're going to pay, not that much at the time, but it was like, oh, this is okay, cool. And so it was all really fast. It was a obviously really hard time, but it was like, again, just this silver lining of like, this life is too short to just be at a desk. And, I liked marketing. I was passionate about it in other ways, but it wasn't the thing, it wasn't the thing that has always driven me.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was 2012. So all through like 2012 to 2016, I was touring with Hunter Valentine. And that was like very gritty introduction to touring, van and trailer, everyone sharing driving, sharing hotel rooms, like very, 5 girls in one room, very much just like a pop punk experience. And it was great. I mean, I was in love with it. It was like just like, this is the life. This is like, sleeping on a Motel 6 floor is great. This is great. Like I'm having a great time. So it was, and then, I mean, they had incredible success too, where it was like, we were then opening for Sum 41. We were opening for Cyndi Lauper. My first tour bus experience was on Cyndi Lauper's crew bus, which was like so cool. I was just like, amazed that this life existed.
Right.
And yeah, so that was just like that was when I was hooked. I mean, it was just like, this is what I want to do. Hunter Valentine was kind of slowing down. I mean, not to get into their whole story, but they had been doing it for longer before I joined. So they were just kind of at the end of their journey. So they did like a farewell tour with me in 2016. And then I was like, okay, now this is time to just take this seriously. I want to play pop gigs. I want to do this, make money, make this my living. So yeah, that's when I really started to kind of hit the books. I did a lot of research about like, what does this look like? How do people do this? Which like we'll get into as part of why I do coaching now, is because I'm like, no one was there to tell me any of this. And it's there. The information is out there of like kind of how to approach this. And there's no one way, but you know, there's things to know. So I just blood, sweat, and tears played with so many different bands. Even I forgot this part of the story. I moved to New York after Boston to be with to join Hunter Valentine. So that was kind of my New York part of my story was there. And then moved to LA in 2017. So that was when I was like, okay, the gigs are out there. I was getting messages in New York like, hey, can you be at this audition, you know, in Hollywood? And I was like, I have to fly. You know, I was like, you know, kind of doing that for a little bit. So eventually I moved out here in 2017, and yeah, it's blood, sweat, and tears. I mean, really, it was just a lot of work. I played with a lot of different artists to like get my name out there, and ultimately it did work. I mean, it was just, you know, just pushing, just keep pushing.
Man, so you moved out to LA without, well, I shouldn't say without, you moved out to LA obviously with this notion of pursuing your career, but you didn't move out for a specific gig like, hey, we're doing this in LA, you need to be here for this.
That's right. Yeah, I just moved out with the hope of finding some stuff.
But you had a plan. It wasn't like you just moved out blindlessly.
Yeah.
I'm just going to comment here, Dave. The stress ball. It's not a stress ball. It is a stress ball.
Don't call it out. He needs it. Just let it out.
So I am way highly over caffeinated and way under talented for this broadcast. So I'm just going to leave it at that. So the stress ball kind of evens me out there. I also have a baseball too, and the stress ball gets kind of beat up. So
nice.
When you completely deflate the stress ball.
Yeah.
It's interesting that your dad like encouraged you to get into something other than music for like a degree or something, which makes complete sense to any sane person.
Right.
The time that you were doing advertising marketing has got to serve you so well now.
Oh my God.
With everything you do and everything you've done. Yeah.
It's a great point. And I don't take that for granted at all. Like when I compare myself to my peers, I am like, I have a lot of strength in like my ability to even just like corporate communication, that kind of like having worked at like an office for a while before jumping into all of this is like, there is a lot there that, but you know, I'm lacking some things too. When I see a lot of my friends that like went to MI, they do great. You know, that's, if I could go back in time and really like have maybe changed that, like I wouldn't really change anything, but that is like, that's something that I would like to go to MI right now. Like, you know what I mean? Like there's things that they learned there that it's like a great music education and great connections at MI. So it's not, again, there's never just one way to do it, but I do really value that education that I have. And I do feel like the marketing side of things, like I never fail. And that's a lot of stuff that I teach in my coaching too. It's just like that, how to market yourself. What are people looking for? How do people see through your customers' eyes? You know, like that kind of thing. And customers being the people that hire you.
And you apply that in your career today.
Yeah.
You know, 100%. I mean, perfect example, like, and we will talk about MI here too. You brought up it because that's my old alma mater. It's at the alma mater of a mutual friend of ours here too. So,
cool.
But like when my daughter's a tattoo artist and she went to art school, and we, you know, when she said she wanted to go to art school, perfect. That's not a problem. But my first thing was like, do they have business courses that you can take or marketing courses that you can take? And it's like, not that you're ever going to go work in an office building or be a marketeer or but it's always good to have that, to apply it to the career that you're working at, marketing, sales, business. Man. And like I said, so I know I'm kind of jumping around here because there's so much stuff that I want to cover, but you applied a lot of that, or you applied what you learned in marketing to, like I said, to what you're doing now between your coaching. You're also, and looking at your Instagram, and correct me if I'm wrong here, but it's not, you're promoting different brands too. Like I know you're promoting some clothing lines and some other lines as well. So tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, social media is such I don't want to say untapped because obviously a lot of people have tapped into it, but I think maybe for musicians, maybe it's untapped where it's like, I think there's so much money to be made when you just like, you know, we're on tour, we're out there representing brands. Like I know, like, you know, Doc Martens will send stuff like, you know, just to get their name out there on stages, and it's amazing, but there's also opportunity to like partner with those brands And just it's another income stream. And obviously music can be really, as we know, just it's hard to predict your income sometimes, and gigs can be, you know, a little bit flaky here and there, but there's just other ways to kind of make money. And like and it's kind of it's a double value where it's like you can make money that way, but also then you're getting posted on other pages. It's more visibility, it's more reach. That's a very, you know, marketing concept of advertising, where it's just like the more eyes the better. It's just, you know, somebody could see you and give you a gig, or somebody could see you and give you a brand deal where they're paying you to just post about their product. So yeah, it's just, I think any income stream that's an untapped market is like important for musicians to look at, because it's like we many times don't have control over the gigs we get or don't get, and we can be in auditions and not get gigs. We can, you know, the artist chooses to change things up, we lose a gig. Like there's just so many ways that things are unpredictable. So my recommendation for musicians, again, in my coaching, but just in general, is just always like pad out with additional income streams where you can.
I mean, it's like you just never know. I found out this morning via Facebook that like certain shows that we had booked or postponed, and I was like, I didn't know about that. And then another show that I didn't know existed, my dad was like, "You coming to town this state?" I was like, I don't know. So this stuff happens all the time. I know an artist that joined up with a massive artist for a pre-Grammy performance, or I'm sorry, a Grammy performance, and he showed up to the rehearsal beforehand, and this was like day of the Grammys. He's on stage with the artist. He's ready to this is like his big moment kind of thing. And they just decide to change directions, like of the entire performance the day of at the, and like he's literally at the venue
on stage,
in ears in, the whole thing. And they were just like, you know what, I think we're going to do like an acoustic thing instead. And he had to like just go home, and it was just like, he didn't do anything wrong. It was just, but it's like people still like, until the check's in hand, or something. I don't know. Whatever. I'm just like, no, it's like,
I feel like I used to think of it as like, until you're at sound check. I'm like, no, until you're at the show. No, until you've actually gotten the check.
No,
then you've gotten
the until the check is actually deposited in your account.
Until it's cleared. Yeah.
Or Venmo, you know what I mean? It's like,
that
was
like, so true.
You know,
like, even at that level, I mean, it's just like, it's so unbelievable. It's
and you know, and like you say, even at that level. So like, Leanne, you play bass for one of the biggest pop acts.
Yeah.
You know, and I guess unless I'm trying to remember, there was a documentary that was done out. It was something about hired. I think it was called Hired Gun, actually.
Yeah, Nita was in that. Yeah. Totally.
Yeah. And I remember, I think it was Phil X that was saying, you have a front row seat to like the lifestyle of, but it's a front row seat. So my point being is like, unless you are that person that is signing the checks at the end of the day, and even then stuff can get canceled, but like us as side people, you have to have some sort of, I call it a side hustle.
Yeah.
You know, like I to this day, 24 years into this career at Ampeg, I still call this my side hustle.
Yeah.
And my bass playing is like my main gig. But I mean, it's obviously the other way around. But yeah, you gotta have multiple income streams, and you got to invest properly too. That's the other thing too. Like, you know, when you make it, you got to know where to put it.
100%, because it's freelance work at the end of the day. Even when you're on retainer, I mean, that is a little bit different when you find an artist where you're on retainer, but things can always change. Just, you know, that's something it's hard. That's something I noticed last year. I did, you know, I played with Jenny at Coachella, which was amazing. We did like a short tour, and that's a great example of like 3 months of like solid work. You know, that was like, we were busy for 3 months. And then it was like nothing for maybe 3 months. You know, it's just like it's almost just like whatever work you do, then there's a block of time off because you weren't even hustling for gigs at that time. There's like a kind of a pendulum that happens sometimes, depending on your, you know, luck. It's a lot of luck of just who needs someone, who reaches out at what time. So and things you have to turn down if you're on another gig, and, you know, it's just the timing doesn't always line up. So that was, I mean, last year for me was very much, I would say inconsistent. Like I had a great year as far as the gigs I did last year, but when I look at it, it's like, you know, filling in for Suki Waterhouse, filling in for I think I did maybe like 5 different artists last year, and it was awesome, but so inconsistent. And it's just a lesson in like saving the money, putting it away, just like holding on to it.
Yeah.
And now, do you teach this in your coaching?
Yeah, I mean, it's honestly depending on level. So with my coaching, it's like I'm talking to some people that have never played live. You know, there's people I talk to where it's like I'm a bedroom player. I want to get out there. My dream is, you know, this or that big pop artist, and we talk about the steps there. But there are people I talk to that are actively gigging, and that's where when we talk about even like pay and like kind of what to ask for, what to expect, things like that. Yeah.
And I'm going to put your Instagram handle up here too. So
Great.
can folks get to your coachings? I know they can. It's actually your Facebook page, not your. Well, no, it is your Instagram, but it's being posted onto our Facebook page. I get it.
Okay. Yeah.
So people can get in touch with you there as well.
Yeah,
we're going to
totally.
post all your links here as well.
Yeah, DMing, and then I have a section of my website that's specific to the coaching where they can sign up for that too.
I mean, it's, you know, it's almost like a mentoring program too, because you know, coming up, we didn't have music coaches. Like I had mentors in my, you know, that I would call and say, you know, you'd run into a specific situation on a gig, or, you know, I knew nothing about, you know, different rates for, you know, when you're playing a concert. Oh, there's TV cameras now, so, you know, how. I knew nothing about that. So I was fortunate enough that I had some guys above me that I could call and say, what do you do in a situation like that?
Totally.
And then they give you all the information. So I'm serious. I'm going to hit you up for some coaching on this stuff too.
And honestly, what's cool too is that kind of, I think you just kind of touched on something that reminded me of this. It's like some of the people I've coached, it's like, what is a musical director is like their first question. And it's like, oh yeah, like that's like, I didn't know that either. Like when I moved to, I think maybe before I moved to LA, but there was a point when it was like, oh, that's who's hiring the bands. It's not as though, you know, necessarily that pop singer is saying like, I'm going to pick this person and this person. It's like, there's a musical director mostly making that decision in a lot of these cases. So that's just a great example of just like, it depends on the level, but it's like start from the beginning. That stuff is so useful. And we kind of just forget that it's like not maybe common knowledge outside of the smaller circles, but that's what happened.
Yeah. Great. Now, do you remember, well, I have 2 questions. First of all is, cause you were talking about your like custom version of reading music, which literally everybody we've had on here, A, gets like poached by their school for the jazz band once they have a country bass, and B, has some form of like, dear God, don't look at my notes, because if you look at my sheet music or anything, like you're going to know how much I can't read.
Totally. Yeah.
But at the same time, when has reading ever come into play in your career at all once you started?
Not a single time. No. I have my own little charting method that like it's just kind of what I've done. I think it started because I was singing background vocals and I wanted to make sure I had like the lyrics plus the play, so I could like look at both at the same time. So I do have kind of my own method. Honestly, I'm an over preparer. I'm very type A. I show up to rehearsals with a binder. I like to print things out so I can write things. I'm very like, assuming we have time to like actually take notes and like go through things in rehearsal, I show up with a binder. I have like a 3-hole punch. I've got little tabs. I've got my pen. Like I'm very like, it's to your point. It's like almost like, don't look at my notes. Like people are impressed by the binder sometimes. And I'm like, just don't look inside. Like it's kind of a mess and only I would understand it. But yeah, I still use my little method, but I've not read music since high school jazz band. Yeah. I will say that.
There was one where I had a session with oh my gosh, I can't believe I'm gonna blank on his name right now. He's oh my gosh, it'll come back to me, but he's like one of my favorite producers of all time. And I got into a session with him, and he was like, oh, we're gonna print out all the charts for you just so you have them. Whatever. I was like, yeah, okay. And I was tracking like 5 songs that day, and I was like just sweating bullets. Like I haven't read late or early college, and like what is going on? And then fortunately I just like was like, before the charts, let me just like listen to it and just see if I'm into it, or see if I have like some ideas. And luckily stuff was working, and it was like he was cool about it. I was like, oh thank God. That was
terrifying.
Yeah. But are there any other times like in early you like first doing the touring thing where you kind of learn the ropes, where there was a moment where you're like, you learned the hard way that this is how things work, not this way?
Oh my God. Yeah. I mean, plenty of times. I'm trying to think about You know, I think, God, I could think of a million, but something that comes to mind, and you kind of just reminded me of that with that story. Hunter Valentine went, that band I was in for a while. We had the opportunity to record at Linda Perry's studio here in LA. So we came out and we were just recording one song with her. It was like winding up on a compilation, something like that. And she was so like, her style was so cool and kind of laid back. And I'm my like notes, you know, I'm very like, I got my notes, I've got my, you know, I know how I'm playing it. And Linda kind of was my first experience with someone being like, loosen up, you know, like just like don't look at your notes, just like relax, like play, you know, just that was something where it was like, oh, music is not just about like the notes, you know, like, and it's like, oh,
Yeah.
we all got into music because we love it and it's fun. Like I was like going back to my roots, like playing along with my mom's like No Doubt album, and that's how I learned, and like that's fun. That's nothing about that is like notes and like structure. But then there was a point when it was like, you know, we learn how to like protect ourselves and like be the best we can be and like, you know, show up prepared. But there's also a balance there. You don't
Yeah.
want to just be like robot show up. And so that was like one of my first times of like, oh my God, you don't want me to look at my notes, you want me to just like play and have fun and relax, like that's
That's
yeah.
not what this is about. Come
Yeah, right?
on.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No.
definitely.
I remember
It's
one of the first tours I did, I was in a band that was opening for 5 Seconds of Summer.
Mhm.
And my whole during this, I was music director of this band, and they were also just like, yeah, man, let's like you lead our workouts for the day or something like that. And I remember day one, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna run every day in front of it was like an arena tour. I'm like, I'm gonna run around the arena every morning. I'm gonna be the guy that does it kind of thing. And I wake up the first day and I see this trainer there, and I'm like, oh, this is, and I didn't know the guys in 5 Seconds of Summer yet.
Yeah.
So they're all working out with him because he's a paid trainer that's literally like on retainer on their tour for
Oh my
them.
gosh,
And I
yeah.
walk into the group and I'm like, oh, this is so cool, guys. Well, I'm going to be working out with you guys every day. And they just all looked at me like, who is this guy?
Oh my God.
no, you're not.
Horrifying.
Oh, it was awesome.
What are some of the challenges of that you find of being a music director and a bass player at the same time?
Yeah. That's a great question. So I've musical directed for different artists, and it's always different kind of depending on the size of the team. So like my early days of musical directing, I remember I musical directed, my friend Alana had a band and I did like her Warped Tour set, and that was like everything because this was a really small outfit. It was just me and the other players, and it was just I was like kind of remember building the set. I remember hiring the musicians. I remember leading the rehearsals. It was just like kind of I was doing everything. And then same, you know, I did my next musical direction gig was for John Early. He's a comedian. He was doing like a variety show annually here in LA. And I did a couple of those again, like every step of the way. Whereas something like musical directing for Demi, it's like the team is bigger and there's a playback engineer and you're just doing a little bit less of the hands-on work. But what I will say is that it is really hard to, because a huge part of being a musical director is listening. And that's like, honestly, like probably the arguably biggest part of being a musical director is like listening and doing that kind of live production as the show is coming into shape. And so having to also play and like put your instrumentation in that mix, it's really hard. And of course you can listen back and record during the rehearsals, but it's hard. And it's hard to direct people while you're also trying to play. It's hard to just hear the nuances. I like it. Like, it's definitely like the thing that I love about me being a musical director is the leadership. That's something I feel like I'm a natural leader. My first gig musical directing was like, oh, this is what I always do. Now there's just a title for it. It's kind of like being the one that says, let's take it from this part. Let's, you know, that kind of stuff that I was already doing. But yeah, it is hard. But at the same time, it's not that, if you ask me, it's not that fun to just musical direct. Like, there is this level of like, I am a musician because I like playing music. And there is for me, and it's not for everyone, but there is something kind of lacking. Like, I musical directed for Royal and the Serpent, and that was awesome. Great experience. But that was pure musical direction. I was not playing in the band. I was directing a band.
Oh.
And it was awesome. I had way more ability. I was like diving so much more into the session and just like building it out, you know, finding like this should be a little bit quieter. This should be, that was like, I was like dialed in. But at the end of the day, you don't get to play the show. And it's kind of like, that is my favorite part. All of this stuff that I go through with the ups and downs of this career, all of kind of that, it's like, it's all worth it when I'm on stage. That's how I feel. And again, not everyone agrees, but so that's for me, like, where musical direction doesn't really like hit that for me, unless I'm in the band, and again, that becomes a little bit more difficult.
Yeah. I mean, and like you say, music director is such a broad
Oh yeah,
term. I mean, from hiring band members to prepping charts for every member, or just
totally.
one of my biggest, I guess my biggest thing is as a bass player and a lot of guitar player, but more so as a bass player, like you have both hands on the instrument at all times because you're playing all the time.
Yeah.
And you have people in the band looking at you for cues, and you're like and you're like trying to find an opportune time to take your hand off the neck or take your
Totally.
for me, that is the biggest challenge.
That's such a
like you have to be in on beat one at the right thing.
Yeah.
Guitars can wait for a second, hear the chord, do the thing.
It's very true.
Just Saturday or Friday night, we're on a gig, and with April, and I'm trying to cue us out of this tune, and Phil, the poor drummer, he's looking at me like, I'm standing right over his hi-hat. He's a lefty drummer, but he's looking at me, he's like, and at the end of the set, he looked at me, he goes, I didn't know what the hell you were trying to tell me. He says, it looked like you were kind of having a little bit of a seizure there. Like, I didn't know whether to follow your head, your hands. He was like, you were kind of all over the place. Yeah, I didn't even know what to do at that point.
Yeah,
I apologize, and at the end, it's just one of these trying to cut a song off.
I know. I mean, the talkback mic comes in handy. That's something I definitely have been like background vocals, singing, and then hitting the thing to talk, to be like tell something to the band. And sometimes that can get really chaotic. Or remember, there's been gigs where something has gone a little bit awry. And I remember I was front of stage rocking out, headbanging, and I had to run back to the talkback to like tell the band, skip this one, skip this thing, we're doing it. It's chaotic. It can be very chaotic.
Have you ever run into a situation where like you have that band member that goes, I don't know, you're the music director. Like you tell us what like if things are falling apart and everybody's obviously looking at you as the music director, but you have that one person in the band that's just like, what are you going to do now to fix it?
That's the thing though. I feel with groups, sometimes when there isn't the one person to decide, that's more chaotic. I'm okay with that. It's more when someone's not going along with the direction that I'm a little bit more stressed. I genuinely we've all been in like group situations, if not bands, where no one is the decision maker. So the group thing comes in. It's like, even like you're on tour and it's like, where are we going for dinner? If no one decides, like, oh my God, hours can go by of just like, I don't know. Group think it bothers. Like like I said, type A, like I like things to kind of I'm decisive. So I think, I'd almost prefer if they just let me.
You make the decision, and this is how it's going to be, and it's open for discussion if you want, but this is what we're doing.
Yes.
No, I get that. It's funny you said, where are we going for dinner? That's like that's the biggest topic of discussion all the time.
I know.
In every lifestyle, in every home, anyways.
For I guess either as a player, maybe this is different between you just being a player in the band or being a player and music director, but do you prefer being a little over rehearsed or a little under rehearsed?
Always over. I'm always, both as a player and a musical director. Like I don't think I really run bands into the ground when I'm musical directing, because I also really believe in the like ceiling of ability, not ability. I don't mean ability. I mean ceiling of like, what do I say? Energy or like focus. Ceiling of focus is what I'm trying to say, where it's like I know as a player, like I can really focus for hours and hours, but like if we're hitting like an 8-hour mark, like I'm useless. I'm tired. I'm hangry. Like I'm not going to be playing to my best ability. So I definitely like, I'm very conscious of that when it comes to players I'm working with. But I'm always over rehearsed. I always show up for rehearsal day one, like I said, with my binder, like a little bit too prepared, and then kind of work backwards from there if we have to change things.
Yeah. That's great advice.
Yeah, totally. And I feel like there's this balance between leaving enough spontaneity to where you're performing still, and not just going through the motions. But there's this weird thing that happens with me where I'll hit a threshold where we've rehearsed so much that whether I got it or not, I think in my mind like I got it. And then like it's like when like Dino and I will talk about like staring at a product in development before it gets released, and you're staring at the words and the parameter names, and like, and you stare at it so much that you start to miss things because it's just blind to you after a while.
Yeah.
I feel like with music a little bit, where you're just like, yeah, it goes to the thing, and we're like, we know, but then it's like, no, you don't know.
You almost get a paralysis effect,
Yeah.
you know, over paralysis. Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah. Interestingly enough, so switching gears here a little bit.
Yeah.
So we were originally introduced through. Well, now I'm guessing this. Were we originally introduced through MOA, or were we introduced through Guild?
Oh, I think through MOA. I think I have
a
vivid memory of talking to MOA about like something I needed, and she was like, "Oh, reach out to Dino," and I think she's the first one that connected us. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And I know like MOA was originally came to us through Line 6 and Guild as well. So, you know, through that whole relationship, and I didn't realize how close you and MOA are as friends and colleagues and whatnot. But for anybody that was watching earlier, when we were talking about Musicians Institute or MI, that's when MOA told me she went to MI, and then she told me what year she graduated, and I felt really, really freaking old. It was like, oh yeah, like
yes.
But no, and I will say, you know, just in terms of music education, because that is my background. I went to MI for a year, and then I taught there for probably about 6.5, almost 7 years after I had graduated.
That's great.
And at that time, it was just a 1-year school. It wasn't like a fully 4-year accredited school. But it's never too late to go back to school.
Yeah.
You know, it's like I even, you know, at my ripe old age of 59, I'm seriously thinking about like going back to Berkeley and taking some courses at Berkeley in music production. And
same. We should do it together. I think about I have on my like little dream board to-do list, just like production courses at Berkeley. I think about that all the time.
Yeah. I always say education is the one thing that nobody can ever take away from you. So, you know, unfortunately, it's just stupidly expensive these days.
I know. I know.
But I think I know somebody that might be able to give us a deal.
Cool. We'll do it together. I'll see you in class.
Yeah, right. So, man, you've done these amazing gigs, these high level gigs. I thought you had played Coachella this past, was it almost 2 weekends ago or 3 weekends ago? But it was Coachella last year.
Yep.
So what's it like playing like a huge festival like that? I mean, you're basically in like a music city.
Yeah.
You know,
I personally love Coachella. I think people have, you know, differing opinions based on experiences, but I did Coachella with Jenny last year, and then I did it with Hatsune Miku the year before. So I did it the last 2 years. And I mean, Coachella is more so than other festivals, from my experience, really focused on the music. Like, I do feel like the people at Coachella, as much as it's about the outfits and things like that, like it is a music forward festival. I don't know. It's like, there's other things to do. There's influencer stuff to do, but it's cool. I love Coachella. Honestly, Lollapalooza I did last year as well for the first time. That was so awesome too. In a different way, the vibe was like different, but festivals are great. I mean, it's more chaotic, which kind of makes it fun as someone that's kind of type A and you know, likes to plan. It's good every now and then to kind of get thrown to like, okay, go to stage. Okay, wait. Okay. You know, it's like it's a little bit more chaotic than just a regular show, but and the crowds are just great. I love, like, I know when I played last year with Jenny, I think we were one of the last sets on whatever stage we were on. I should know the stage, but one of the stages. And so people were there like all day for Jenny, which just is so, I mean, it's so, to see people, sometimes you get worried about the state of the music industry and this and that, but then when you see the fans and you're like, oh my gosh, people are just out here to enjoy music and like experience this together. That's the best feeling. I mean, that's amazing to see. So yeah, just that. And then, I mean, even the year before, what was interesting is I was on much earlier in the day with a different artist, and it was like people were there to see another show later, but they got to see our show and they were into it and they were reacting. And it's like, that's what's cool about festivals too, is you're not just playing to the fans of the artist, you're playing to people maybe seeing a different show. Maybe they're just getting a hot dog and they were walking by and now they're watching your set. Like I love that about festivals, but I think Coachella is very fun. I've had good times there.
Do you prefer festivals over individual shows, or?
I guess it kind of depends on the show. I mean, my favorite, I will say, when I think of my favorite shows I've played at like the bigger scale, they happen to be festivals. I mean, like Rock in Rio, like, I mean, it's unbeatable. Like that experience was like the moment, you know, to me, that was like one of the moments of just like, oh my gosh, like I did all this work again, going back to the blood, sweat, and tears, going back to learning CDs in my, you know, bedroom, like playing Rock in Rio is just like, you're just, it's like, you know, that experience is unbeatable. So and then another fest I did with Demi in Ischgl. It's like the opening of their ski resort at the top of a mountain in Austria. That's like not technically a festival, but it's not a regular show. And so they tend to be more memorable, I guess is the point. Yeah.
Do you, I mean, all these gigs, it like how obviously through referrals, I would imagine, but do you are you auditioning for a lot of these gigs still, or is it pretty much listen, Leanne's the cat for this gig?
Yeah, honestly, it still just depends. Like I've definitely had just offers to play, and you know, your next day you're flying out to do whatever. It's both though. I have also auditioned for stuff as recently as I would say 4 months ago, sending in a video, you know, sending in this or that just to, you know, there's, and the video auditions, I guess it's a little bit more rare to do the in-person. It's been a minute since I've done an in-person audition.
Oh, wow.
But absolutely. Artists are still looking for like, play this song. We're going to compare it to everyone else. And then we'll bring you in for the in-person, which is much smaller. It's not like cattle call style. It's, you know, you against maybe 3 people are vying for this one gig based on the video. So but no, it's definitely not a no. It's definitely not like, oh, I haven't auditioned since. No, I'm actively auditioning. For sure.
All right. No, that's cool. And I'm assuming people can learn all this in your courses, in your coaching as well, like how to go about doing this and prepping for. See, that's the thing that I never, living in LA for the time I was there, there was nobody there to coach you on how to properly audition. Like know that you are going to be a freaking nervous wreck.
Oh my God.
And how to handle that, and how to handle it professionally, because they're going to be looking for that. Like, is this guy nervous? Like, you know, why is his head shaking? Why is he peeing on the floor?
First thing in my coaching, don't pee on the floor.
Don't pee on the floor.
Lesson.
Well, it depends on the gig you're going for.
That's true. That's a great point.
But yeah, it was like, I mean, I auditioned for a lot of people when I was in LA, and it was funny because it was like, you know, back then this was just towards the end of the hair metal band days and just at the beginning of the grunge days. And it was like, and I remember being told this: you're too tall, you're too short, you're too skinny, you're too fat, your hair's too long, your hair's too short. But here's the best one. This is the best one. You're too Greek.
Oh my God.
Have you thought about changing your last name?
That's illegal. You got to call somebody about that.
It is the stress ball for that one.
You deserve compensation for that.
You're too Greek. I was like, how am I too Greek? I'll show you some pictures. I went back in the 90s when I had, and even my wife says, she goes, yeah, you really do look like somebody right off the islands, you know?
Oh my God. It's brutal. That's brutal.
Anyways, but yeah, you don't, you know, this is all valuable information that goes way beyond learning where an A flat major chord is. And you know what I mean? Like, this is real world stuff that I think a lot of people should reach out to you and take advantage of. And
working through nerves. Nerves is a big one. I definitely like it. Okay. Because you need your hands. That's something I very early in my audition days, like earlier when I was in LA, it was like, I'm about to audition for something really exciting and I need my hands to work because I need them to play the things that I've practiced. And that can become like the hardest part. And that was something I definitely like, breathing exercises, like had to like physically kind of learn how to deal with.
Sure.
And it's, of course, the more you audition, the better you get at it, the less nervous you get. Like that's 100% it. But there are people I talk to where it is just like, I haven't auditioned yet. What to expect? And it's like, expect to be insanely nervous. Expect your body to betray you. Like that is what will happen. You will be that nervous. So yeah, something totally I talk about.
That is great advice. Expect your body to betray. My body's been betraying me for the last 40 years, and I'm not appreciative of it, but I just roll with it, I guess.
I don't know if I can help you with that.
No, that's no, there's not no, nobody can help me with that. So what's next? I know you're kind of, when we were talking before we went live here, you're not really in a holding pattern, but it's just, you're in between gigs and
definitely. Yeah. I mean, I'm keeping things going with the coaching, obviously open for that, but honestly open for gigs. Like I will see, you never know. That's another thing I tell my coaching clients is that it's like, it can feel like, you're in the desert and there's no opportunities, but then next thing you know, you get a call. So just, keeping the calendar open, doing some fill-in stuff coming up, but it's pretty open.
You got to be positive.
Yeah, totally.
That you have to be positive.
In those moments in like a city like LA, do you feel like, okay, like I know the few spots I can hit where musicians saying like, I got nothing going on tonight.
Yeah. Just being out there. Yeah. And it's like, I mean, taking breaks is totally like, that's something for sure. Like I've taken quite a break from Instagram for a little bit where it's like, if I'm not gigging, like, there's mental health breaks elements to this too, that I like to talk about in coaching as well, where it's just sort of like, you don't have to be on all the time because you will burn out. And that's something that's important to remember too. But yes, as soon as you're like ready to get back on and just start to take on more gigs, yes, getting out there, going to shows is important too.
Yeah. Man, it's like we're almost at the top of the hour here.
There's so much more to talk about.
Oh, Mark, Pacifica.
Mark.
What's going on, dude?
Hi, Mark. So we got Rachel on here too.
You got Rachel. Yeah. So we have some of the most amazing viewers and fans that call in from all over the world. Rachel, I think calls in from Germany. I haven't seen Paul yet.
Paul's there.
Okay, there he is. Good. All right. I was getting nervous, Paul. I wasn't seeing you here. Paul's from England, and one of these days we're gonna have these guys on SVT time as well because they're regulars here. So
cool.
Mark checks in probably almost as frequently. So now do you know Mark?
Yeah. We went to a bass player hang, which was really cool, where it was just a bunch of bass players hanging out.
I was gonna really was that Eva's hang? Because I know she hosts something like that too.
I think it was Edison's hang. Edison hosted it. Yeah.
Cool.
Mark just recently converted a what was it, like he's got like an SVT B15 hybrid thing going on.
Oh, so Mark, that's right.
All your Hank Hill adventures of Jimmy rigging some stuff up.
In the 55 minutes we've been live, I have yet said anything about bass amps. So if they don't fire me after these gigs, it's like, I mean, we all know it's amp, but you have been using Rocket Bass.
Yes.
Now I don't know if you're using those on the bigger tours because obviously it's a bigger tour, bigger stages. In a lot of cases now, I mean, everybody's just DIs and in-ears at this point too. So what do you use on some of the bigger stages? Is it literally just an DI and in-ears?
I use the HX Stomp is usually on when there's no amp. I'm using the HX Stomp. I love my tones on the HX Stomp. But yes, I always request when there is an amp on stage, usually just the SVT Classic. I used to have an SVT 7 Pro head with a cab that I wound up selling when I moved to LA just because couldn't fly with it. And I only flew out here with one bass. So but yeah, I mean, my very first amp was an Ampeg. I bought a practice amp for like $20 at a yard sale. That was like I think it was like the B100. It was like the this person that was selling it had no idea that it was worth more than $20. And I remember I was in high school and I bought it at this yard sale in Connecticut and used it for everything up until I left for LA, basically just like for a practice amp. But my first like bigger amp for touring was the SVT 7 Pro head with I think it was the 8x10 cab I had. But I've always used Ampeg, nothing else.
And like I said, I remember when we had originally talked and And for around town, the rocket base is perfect. It's
Yes.
it's
It's
lightweight.
so light.
Yeah.
I'm still amazed, but every time I go to pick it up, I almost throw it because I'm just like, I'm expecting something so much heavier. I love the weight of that amp.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
That's so cool. At some point, we'll in your spare time, or if you have free time, come on out to Calabasas so we can show you some of the new venture stuff as well. But
I would love to. Yeah.
I know like I said, we're kind of coming up to the top of the hour here, and I don't want to keep you too long, but we do have a surprise. It's like a quick 10, well, it's up to 15 questions now, I think. 16 questions that we kind of hit you with.
Cool.
They're yes or no or A/B type answers. You got to give us the first thing that comes to mind. You can't really mull over it.
No wrong answer, but at the same time, it just completely reveals your identity as a bassist.
Yeah, great.
There's no there's no wrong answers other than
embarrassment. Got it. My dignity.
All right. So question number 1: P bass or jazz bass?
P bass.
See, this is how easy it is.
Yeah. That's easy.
Question number 2: Passive or active?
Passive.
Okay. Number 3: Rounds or flats?
Rounds.
Wow, you like.
I know.
I know my tone.
Number 4: B15 or SVT?
SVT.
Okay. 5: Cable or wireless?
Cable.
Wow. Okay. Number 6: Pick or fingers?
Oh,
there it is.
50,
there it is.
I'm so 50-50. Pick.
Okay.
My preferred tone. Yeah.
All right. Dom, there it is. Number 7. We usually get hung up on rounds or flats, but you made it all the way up to pick or fingers, which is good. Number 7: IEMs or floor wedges?
IEMs.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's no wrong answers here.
Sorry.
Yeah. Number 8: pedals or no pedals?
Pedals.
Okay. Number 9: window or aisle?
Oh, aisle.
Okay.
Very easiest one.
Number 10: high bunk, middle bunk, or low bunk?
Low bunk.
Okay. No, it kind of ties in with the aisle thing there. That's as far as we're going to go. Number 11: black with white piping or silver and blue? Talking about the cosmetics of Ampeg.
Black with white piping.
Okay. Number 12: hot chocolate or coffee?
Hot chocolate.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. There's a little hesitation there, but
yeah.
Number 13, and this you can mull over, but favorite place to eat on the road. And this could be a specific restaurant or cuisine or.
Okay, I have to go with what came into my mind first. I think about this salad from Torchy's Tacos. When there's not a Torchy's in LA, I think it's in Austin. It was started in Austin, but they now have them in like Denver.
Okay.
So if I'm somewhere with a Torchy's Tacos, I always go to a Torchy's Tacos.
Okay.
It's a random one, but it's the first one that came to mind.
Okay, that's cool. We'll have to look that up.
Yeah, it's a chain. It's like almost like a Chipotle or something, but it's specific. It's much smaller.
But the tacos.
Yeah. Okay. And there's a salad there. It's like a blackened salmon with like pistachios. Oh my God. I can't even talk about the salad. I got to go to Austin.
Okay. All right. Your go-to lick for sound checks.
Ooh, Schism by Tool.
Nice. Wow. Okay.
Yes.
Yep. Okay. Nobody's actually said that in the past.
That's shocking to me. I have the bass tab tattooed right here.
Oh yeah, that's awesome.
Cheesecake or carrot cake?
Cheesecake.
They do get kind of silly after.
This is great.
You said cheesecake, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then last one is favorite Saturday morning cartoon.
Ooh. Favorite Saturday morning cartoon.
The bass ones were easy. The lifestyle ones are the difficult ones.
I mean, like, if I was like to put on a cartoon right now, I feel like I would watch Doug. I don't know if that counts, but the show Doug, like Nickelodeon days.
We'll take that.
Sure.
Absolutely. Yeah. All right. Yeah, that's it. We're up to 16, and I think I need to cut some of these out, but there's
they were all perfect.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, I get 20,
Yeah, maybe we need to come up with a couple more, then maybe get it up to 20. But man, Leanne, it has been such a joy talking with you. Thank you for taking the time out of your day to do this.
Yeah.
It really is. And you know, like I said, this, and I tell everybody here, I think we said this before the live stream, or did I? I'm coming off my caffeine high now, so I'm forgetting what I said earlier. But
it's crashing.
I'm crashing over here. But no, like I said, this is the conversation. It's just a conversation about life, about favorite cheesecake or carrot cake, about bass playing, and you know, it's not. We don't get deep. We don't talk about politics or religion or any of that stuff. This is the conversation that we like to have at NAMM or whenever we just kind of hang out and have coffee. So, yeah. So next time I'm out in LA, maybe Dom and I will get Leanne, we'll get Mo, maybe, and this has actually been a dream of mine, is like right around NAMM time, is to get all the entire Ampeg family, Line 6 family, Guild family, like get all the bass players together and just kind of have a hang. Because
love it.
When's the other time you really get to hang out with a bass player? It's never on a gig unless you're at a festival.
Yeah.
But yeah, on a gig, you're the only one there. So
yeah, I'm super down. That sounds great.
Cool. And we'll have you back on at some point, you know.
Totally. And there's more to talk about.
Yeah, absolutely. You'll come back and visit us. Cool. Everybody. What's SVT time is always a good show. Thanks, guys. Thank you. And like I always say, we'll keep doing this until they tell us to stop, or you guys stop watching, or one of the other. But, yeah. Real quick, just some house cleaning or housekeeping notes here. The next SVT time is Tuesday, May 12th, with Eric Boutau, or I'm butchering the last name, from Punk Rock Bass Players. So he's going to be on. We're going to talk about the new website, Punk Rock Bass Players. So, Leanne, if you're around, you want to chime in, please join us.
Sounds awesome.
So, all right, guys, that's it for us.
Go check out Leanne's socials. Go check out her career coaching.
Yes.
Thanks, everybody.
Yep.
Thank you.
Right. See you guys. Yeah, I know. It's like, all right, where'd my cursor go? I was wondering I was waiting to see if everyone was going to.